So we saw The Monkey, a Stephen King short story adaptation into a movie, and it's an Osgood Perkins directed, same guy who directed Longlegs from last year, So what'd you think of it?
I will say this, it was certainly not what I expected.
What did you expect going into it?
What I expected out of it was, just coming from, like, since it's being a Stephen King, like, it's based on a Stephen King novel,
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of putting it in the realm of, like, an It movie.
Okay, yeah.
Or, in that kind of realm of things. But because, like, and they were good movies, I thought they were. But I put that on the echelon with those movies. And so I was kind of took back at what I watched.
Yeah, there's a huge range of Stephen King movies. Just besides It, you also have like The Shining and then
Pet Sematary.
Pet Sematary, Shawshank Redemption, and The Green Mile are also Stephen King adaptations. There's a wide range, I think, and there's probably a lot. I'm sure there's a lot more than I'm even remembering, or probably have even seen.
Yep.
I was expecting this movie to, because I think from the trailer, the story I thought it was going to be something like this, like, possessed monkey thing.
Yep.
Was basically just there to terrorize the boys, and like it chose these boys, and then it's like, I'm gonna kill people and then make you watch. That's the idea that I got from the trailers. I feel like there was a line in there that that's what made me think that.
We have been chosen to witness its power over life and death.
There was an expectation of it, like the monkey itself was the one who was doing all this thing, and the boys were wanting to stop it. That wasn't exactly the case. Right now we are spoiler free, so I'm not gonna delve into exactly what ended up happening yet. But yeah, so that wasn't quite. Also, the tone was actually quite humorous. I guess humorous isn't quite the right word.
I would like to say silly.
Yes.
It was silly in a lot of ways.
Over the top and kind of silly. They used a lot of gore and a lot of the kills.
Yep.
They were just like really over the top, and it created a lot of laughs, but at the same time it was just like, we're not really taking this too seriously.
Exactly. That's exactly how I felt about it.
Yeah. Not super I was laughing. Absolutely, I was laughing in the theater. We were having a good time, but yeah, it was in hindsight I'm like, yeah, I was laughing, it was funny, but I'm a little annoyed by it. I was going into it wanting something a little bit more serious, and what I ended up getting was something that didn't really take itself It didn't really take itself seriously. And I especially thought that the monkey had a really good, I thought the premise, at least the premise that I thought it was really interesting. It was like, hey, how do you stop a monkey that keeps coming back and is trying to kill people and is determined to make you watch and make you witness it all? But that wasn't quite what that wasn't quite what it was.
Like, I like the whole concept of it.
Oh yeah,
I really
yeah.
do. Like, I like two brothers trying to, combat this evil monkey. I thought it was like, hey, you can do a lot with this movie, but it went a totally different direction than I expected.
Yeah, and I don't know how much of that is Stephen King and how much of that is Osgood Perkins. I think I know a lot of people loved Longlegs from last year. I honestly can't remember hardly anything from Longlegs. I think there was a couple people I saw who were like putting Longlegs at like the top of their horror movie list, and I'm like, I just could not remember like anything from it. But also from what I've heard people talk about, there was some craziness in Longlegs from like Nicolas Cage, and then they just kind of amped that up more in this movie. I don't know. I haven't read the short story of the monkey, so I couldn't tell you if like how it matches up, or if like how much of this is adaptation. Also, I did find out the movie the book was written in 1980.
Okay.
And one thing we noticed when watching the movie is they used a lot of like old technology and stuff, but then they also had new technology. So they had like cell phone, like one of the characters had like an iPhone 10 or iPhone 10s. They also were using like phone books and like had cars from the like 90s cars, and like the son had AirPods, and the father had an iPhone 10s or 10, one of the two. I can tell from the camera bump. But like he had a phone from like 2017, 2018 that came out around that time. The son had AirPods, so it could be taking place. Hey, maybe this is taking place, somewhere between 2017 and 2019. Except for the beginning of the movie, it's like, hey, 1999, and then 25 years later,
Yep.
it's like, okay, so this is supposed to be 2024, but there's phone books and like older technology. It's like, what's going on?
I couldn't agree more with you on that one.
The phone book thing was probably something from the Stephen King, and they didn't adapt it to modern.
And see, like, I know Stephen King is like known for like allowing his movies to like go with like modern times or contemporary settings, and I thought they did a real good job like with that, like in It, and I could see like what he was going for, or the director anyway was going for in the movie, but like it just did not mesh together. It didn't make any sense.
Yeah, it felt very contradictory. Now I've watched and have been watching Severance, and that movie that show. In Severance, it feels like it's lost in time, in a sense. There's some stuff about it that's futuristic. Some of the technology feels like it's futuristic. Some of the technology is quite retro, and you can't really quite place it because like the cars look like they're from like the 80s or 90s, but some characters have flip phones. Some of them have smartphones, so it's like, okay, so this has got to be modern day, right? But then you go on the Severed floor, and the computer monitors look like they're from like the 50s or something like that, with some weird style that I've never seen before. It's like they've created their own style of technology for this, and then they use like CRT TVs and
Sure.
like small DVD players and whatever. But then they also have like futuristic technology of being able to separate your personality from like two different versions. So it's like all over the place. But I think with Severance, it's supposed to make it feel timeless. I think like it's somewhere in time, and you can't quite place when this takes place. Just kind of an alternate reality kind of thing. Whereas The Monkey feels like it's like, okay, so we're very much in the 90s with modern technology. It just feels contradictory.
Yep, I couldn't agree more on that.
Yeah. So
Especially like with the style, too, like with the glasses and like the colored lenses.
Oh yeah. The aunt and uncle, they looked like, and that was supposed to like that was taking place in 1999, and you have them. They look like they're from the 70s.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, when the book was written in 1980, like these people would have been like they would have been hippies, right?
Oh, 100%.
Like they were just coming out of the hippie era of like the 60s and 70s, so their style would make sense if the actually, see if it's 25 years later and it takes place. No, actually that wouldn't work because that would be 25 years earlier would have been like 1955, which would have been before the hippie era. But yeah, still like it would make more sense if that was probably around if the aunt and uncle. By the way, the uncle was played by the director of this movie.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm like, you either should have done a period piece with it, or kind of like updated all the updated a lot of the stuff that was more retro to make it make sense.
In a way, it kind of felt like the movie was a little bit rushed. Like in certain aspects of that, unless like in like going.
That
back,
is a good question because I mean, Osgood Perkins directed a movie that came out this year and last year, which does beg the question of how, like, was he working on both at the same time?
I mean, that would explain why it felt rushed.
That
and
probably would be.
and maybe that's why they missed the mark on certain things.
Maybe,
So, I
yeah.
mean,
He didn't spend enough, because I think Osgood Perkins did write the movie, adapting it from Stephen King. Well, let's go ahead and give our rating of the movie before we talk some spoilers. What would you rate the movie out of 10?
does it have to be a solid number, or can I put decimals in there?
If you want to put decimals, do it.
Okay, well, I'm going to give it a 2.7. Or, you know, let me
Out of
rephrase
10?
that. Let's go 3.7.
3.7 out of 10.
3.7 out of 10
Ooh,
because
dang.
that's a low rating.
That is a very low
I
rating.
understand, but like there were times I wanted to leave the theater.
Oh, goodness.
Like it was like that.
It was that bad for you.
It was that bad for me because I think I was just annoyed because it was going all over the place. But
Okay.
initially when we first watched it, it was like, okay, like this is going somewhere. I like it. So I think that's where the 3 goes, and then the 0.7 goes for the rest of the movie.
I'd give it like a 6 out of 10. That's what I
Okay,
gave it.
Okay.
Yeah, to me it was fun. It was kind of enjoyable. It wasn't the greatest, you know. It was watchable, definitely. And it's not something I'd watch again. Yeah, let's talk spoilers, I guess. Yeah, so the actual plot of the movie was you end up having one of the brothers wanting to kill. So you have Hal and then his brother. I can't remember his brother's name. They're twins, and Hal accidentally uses the monkey to kill his mother, and his twin brother, who is very abusive towards him, wants to kill him because he found out that his mother was killed by the monkey. And basically, the monkey is basically just like a piece of carnage that is activated by whoever wants to use it.
Well, Hal was getting tired of being abused by his brother, and he wanted to kill his brother.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's what he was intending.
Yep.
And then it ended up killing his mom instead. I don't know if this is part of the Stephen King book, but like I didn't like the fact that like the monkey itself was activated by the user. I was like, so it's basically a killing machine.
Yep.
It's like, okay, so this thing is instead of it being like a possessed monkey that is there to torture the boys, it's like it wants to, it's like it's gonna make you watch. Instead, it's just like this thing. You turn the key and then it does this little routine, and then it kills and then somebody dies in a freak accident.
And what's crazy about it too is that like in the beginning, the monkey was following him around. It was just appearing wherever the kid was.
Yeah. And like the that first scene, you have this cop guy who's bringing it, and it has the arm up, which in the movie it signifies it's about to kill somebody, because when the arm comes down, a freak accident happens and somebody dies. After it was discovered by their aunt, who it ended up killing. Then the brother finds it, and then you find out like, oh no, all these accidents are happening, and so many people are dying, and then it's just like, oh, he's just there turning the key again and again and again, and he's just killing a bunch of people, and it's just like, I don't know, it just kind of lost in like the whole thing just kind of started to fall apart for me with that, because it's just like. So the only thing you have to do to stop it is just not turn the key.
Yeah.
And to keep people from turning the key. But then you also have to make sure it doesn't, because it just teleports wherever it wants.
Yeah, and that's what's like kind of crazy is like they had the right idea in the beginning, especially like when the monkey was following them around and it appeared in their van when they were at the hibachi place with their babysitter. I'm not sure who that lady was.
It was their babysitter, yeah.
And like Hal had like that feeling like something bad was going to happen, and then sure enough the monkey was in the van, and then he comes down with the
though like later the monkey doesn't even have to be near the accident.
Yeah, that's true.
Because then the other brother, he ends up like trying to force the arm down, and then the monkey gets pissed off at that, and then it just like starts drumming a bunch of times, and then just a bunch of freak accidents start happening all of a sudden. There were some funny callbacks though in the movie, like they had skydiving, and and they do weddings too, and then at the end you have like a bride falling through like the roof.
Oh, yeah.
Because as if they were like skydiving.
I didn't catch that actually.
Oh, you didn't.
I did not catch that.
And I think there was like a make like eggs and scramble, and then they used that again. So there were some fun some callbacks, and then just had some like really wacky stuff, like just how like characters just barely react to some of the stuff. Or what, like the pool scene, where a woman's about to jump into a pool that's electrified.
Oh,
and then she just explodes, and it's just like
that would not happen.
It wouldn't happen. It was just like, what?
And I think another one was too is like I think it was like that one guy that was looking over his neighbor's fence, and I think it was something with a lawnmower or something like that. I'm pretty sure.
His face was in the lawnmower.
Yeah,
or something
yeah,
like that.
and like he's just sitting there watching it. Like there was like no reaction to that.
Yeah.
Now there's blood just spraying on him. It's like, what?
Yeah, so some of it is just like just the utter ridiculousness of the kills themselves. It's just like it just draws a laugh out of you just because of how absolutely absurd it all is.
Yeah. I
think the very first kill, you had I think a rat chewing through a rope, and it releases a harpoon. It sticks a guy in his gut, and then the harpoon gets triggered again, and then it just strings out his intestines perfectly, I might add. Just nice, easily, and unwinds it straight out of his gut, and it's like. And it's just the thought of like what's happening is like, this is ridiculous, or like the fact that the woman exploded, getting electrocuted, and she exploded, like just the shock of it is just like it's humorous because that's not what you expect to happen, but also B, that's just way over the top.
Oh, even like when the realtor opens that closet door and that shotgun gets her, like it was like she wouldn't like blow back like that. You know, like
she would have gotten killed, but not explode.
No, exactly, 100%.
I think on IMDb it's like they called it like splatter horror or something like that, and it's just like they're just like, yeah, let's just make everybody explode.
It's kind of like with Quentin Tarantino with like in Kill Bill with like the blood fountains. That's kind of the vibe I was getting.
Except for in Kill Bill, the thing I would consider to be a very big difference is there was. Like, like with Quentin Tarantino, he can make he's really good with his cinematography, but he's also a huge fan of older movies.
Oh,
because
sure.
The stuff he grew up on. So I think with Kill Bill, he was doing a lot of because you see a lot of like wire work, obvious wire work. Like you have characters floating in the air, and like for they're jumping up and you can see them floating. It's like obvious wire work, but it's supposed to like be reminiscent of like really campy martial arts movies. It's a love letter to martial arts movies.
Oh, that makes
and so
sense.
he uses a lot of like that older techniques and everything. And so like the blood fountains, it's an intentional choice on that. Like it's to be like a little bit ridiculous with it, right?
Oh,
or
that makes
to
sense.
kind of pay homage to older movies. But here it's just like, it is just purely just over the top and almost nonsensical.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, it is. It's just kind of wild. But yeah, the way that story went is just, I was just like, yeah, that's not quite what I was hoping it would be.
Same, and like I think that's why like I gave it such a low rating was because I think I put it like up there with like the Pet Cemeteries and the It's and like.
Okay, so for you, you were expecting it to be way better, and it didn't live up to those expectations.
Exactly.
And because of that, it just falls super far.
100%.
I see.
Because like a lot of his movies are or like the books that are like based on like Stephen King's novels are like more serious, you know.
Oh yeah.
And they have like a really good plot for the most part. Whereas like this one, I was like kind of losing focus. Like, where is this movie going? You know? And then there's like scenes like with the cheerleaders. It's like, why are they cheering?
When they brought out the realtor, there's just a bunch of cheerleaders there, no explanation. There's just a bunch of cheerleaders, and then they're just like, yeah, we're bringing out the body, and then at the end, you're sitting on that stoplight, and you have the bus, and then you got the cheerleaders all sticking their heads out, and they're like going cheering, and then you just have a semi, and then beheads all of them, and it was just like, it was a thing where it's just like. It was funny because it catches you off guard and you're like, oh, that's insane. But like, it's also like, what did I just witness? Like, what just happened? You know, it's like, they all just got beheaded. Like, what? Why? What are we doing?
Yeah, it was just, and then like I don't know if you want to talk about the ending quite yet, but like with the bowling ball at the end, like they finally make amends.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and then the monkey just decides, oh, I'm gonna kill, and it was the brother, and just like, oh. Also, the way they made amends. Yeah. He's like, yeah, but she was my mother too, and he's like, oh yeah, it's like they're twins. Yeah. And he's like, oh yeah, I guess you would be upset about that too. I guess we're cool.
Well, yeah, I like how, I think he said something along the lines of like, oh, I never really thought of that.
Yeah. It's like, I never really, it's like this dude, you know, Hal like is being like away, like tries to separate himself from everybody because he doesn't want anybody else to get hurt.
Yep.
Which, see, it's the weird logic of like, how does this monkey work exactly? Because like on one hand that makes sense, right? Because at the beginning, like when he was a kid, he turns the key, and like I feel like that's what was most consistent was in the beginning of the movie when they were kids, right? Because the monkey seemed to be able to teleport, and then you turn the key, and then it kills someone close by.
Yep.
And like turn the key, it killed the mom who was in the house, and someone who was close to him. Turned the key, killed his uncle. And I think that was really also the babysitter. So it started off with the babysitter, and then the mom, and then the uncle, and then just random people. Like when it comes back, it's like he turns the key, and then it kills someone near Hal.
Oh, yep.
And it's like, and that definitely is like, okay, it's gonna kill someone nearby, and make one of the brothers witness it, right? So it's like, okay, so it kills Hal. And you think about it, like it seems to want to like target Hal because, but then like other times like the person's just not even there, like his aunt, when she gets killed, nobody's around to see it.
Yeah, that's true.
But then like the realtor, because like the monkey's at his brother's lair, and then it's just killing people near Hal.
I mean, that's a fair point. And see, like,
so it's not even close to the monkey; it's just close to Hal.
And maybe, like, I don't know, maybe there's like a connection, like when Hal cuts up the monkey, because like then the monkey really didn't like that, and it was like giving him nightmares and stuff.
Yeah, giving him nightmares about the monkey.
So like going back to when the brother I think because the brother retrieves the monkey like right after.
Tries to.
He tries to, and it's not there except for the key.
Except for the key, yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, and then it disappears, then it reappears, like 25 years later. It's like if it was at the aunt's house, who turned the key?
Yeah, that's good. That's a good point, actually. Who turned the key? So technically, the monkey just killed the aunt.
Yeah.
Like by itself. I just thought of that right now.
Yeah, basically. It's all over the place.
Yeah, so that's, I think that's why like I gave it the rating I did, just because it was just all over the place, and there was areas that like didn't quite make sense or didn't line up.
Didn't have the consistent logic. Yeah, and it definitely kind of did feel kind of like a short story stretched out a bit, because I mean if you think about it, it's like you have them as kids, and then as an adult. Hal is, he's picking up his son, and they're about to go to this like horror world, and then he ends up getting a call being like, hey, you got to go to your aunt's house, make sure the monkey's not there. He's like, from his brother, and then Hal goes there, and then ends up finding out his brother's nearby, finds where his brother is, gets taken there, and pretty much the end. Like, obviously, I'm skipping a lot because it is. It's less than 2 hours. I think it's like an hour and 40 some minutes or something like that. So obviously, but like it's, pretty fast the way it moves. Because like by the end of the movie, it's like oh, we're getting to the end already. Okay. Interesting.
We didn't talk about the scene where that guy with the long hair dies, have we?
Oh my gosh, I hated that.
Like,
I kind of have a fear of like wasps.
Oh, so do I. I do. 100%.
And so that was probably the most disturbing death I have seen. I was like, oh, that is awful. But that is also like at that point, it's like, okay, that is not an improbable death.
Oh,
that is
not.
intentional.
Mm-hmm.
Like most of these deaths, like they're like, okay, yeah, this is like some kind of freak accident, no matter how improbable. But then it's like, okay, you have these wasps, and then he shoots it, and all the wasps are like, oh, let's all just like. Also, that was an insane amount of wasps,
and like they all went in a straight line through that crack into his mouth.
Yeah,
and I was like, well, that's not really like an accident. Like that was.
That is by no means any sort of accident.
Yeah.
Like that is you could not chop that up to be a freak accident. But again, another period where it was someone that Hal witnessed die.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that was freaky.
And maybe like that. Maybe I have to go back and read the short story because maybe like I'm missing something.
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. I don't. Yeah. Maybe with reading the short story, we'd end up seeing like. Have better criticism of like oh they changed this from the book or they changed this from the story. Maybe the story is more of what we were thinking it was going to be. Maybe. I don't know. We'll find out if we read the story. But
overall, it's like I felt like it was rushed. You know, but however, I do think that it's a good concept. I think like if they redo it in like 10 years or 5 years, maybe they take a better approach to it. Because I think there's a lot there that they can use.
It was an interesting, at least from the sell that I got from the trailer, it was an interesting concept. And I don't like what I recommend someone to watch it. I don't know. I guess really it's hard to like say no, don't watch this movie. It's also hard to say yes, go watch the movie, just because it's like, on one hand, it was funny. It was like if you're like a horror movie fan and like, you don't need it to be like super consistent or like really serious or anything like that. It's funny. It's over the top, and if you like splatter gore, then you're gonna get a lot of this. And it's an enjoyable watch. I can say that for sure. It's an enjoyable watch. Just not one that I would return to. Or one that I end up having a lot of positive thoughts towards the post watching the movie. I had fun in the theater, and then afterwards I'm like, yeah, that wasn't great, but I had some laughs with it. So yeah, it's a bit conflicting.
Yeah, absolutely. I did actually have a friend that went to it that night, and this was just random, but I texted her and I said, hey, like, don't go to this movie. And she's like, I'm actually going to that tonight. Oh. I said, well, you have to let me know how you feel about it. And what she said to me was, worst movie she's seen in a while.
Oh, goodness. And
so, like, okay, I'm like, maybe, like, there is something, maybe it is that bad. That's kind of how I took it, so.
But then on the other hand, the friend we went to the theater with loved it.
She really?
Yeah. Yeah.
I haven't, I never asked her rating specifically on it. Now I'm gonna have to.
I don't know if she'll come up with like an actual number rating, but yeah, we were. I got the some of the stuff I found out about the movie was from her, but yeah, she absolutely loved it.
Wow.
Yeah, which is why, you know, it's like I'm like, on one hand it's like it was fun, it was funny, but it was also just not something I thought was like really good.
And like I was kind of
Yeah.
like listening to like the people that were in the theater when we were there.
Oh yeah.
And like I heard, like as we were walking out, I heard some people say like, "This is not what I thought it was going to be," you know. And I think that's like a lot of what the audiences are gonna think.
Yeah.
But
It's not what you would expect.
and like yeah, maybe that's another reason why I'm upset. 'Cause, like the trailer's so misleading
Yeah.
to what you think it's actually gonna be. But yeah, I mean that's really all I have about The Monkey.
Well, thank you for joining us for this discussion of The Monkey, new 2025 release, and have a good day.